Right, what's good, everyone? How you doing? How's everyone doing? Um,
Doing well, man.
Fast doing a show today, kind of break it up and talk all things Manchester United is coming to an end. We're gonna break it up and kind of look forward to the future, right? Talk about the future. Us fans, Man United fans, have had a season like no other, a season that we do not want to remember. Join me on today's show. We have DJ. We got DJ. We have United Tunnel all the way from Canada. With yourself. We have Cozy Fan all the way from Canada as well.
USA.
USA. Sorry, USA all the way from USA.
Texas.
We're gonna be adding some more panel members to the group today, and also I want to give a big introduction to the one and only, as you guys have seen on my channel before. There's none other than the number one delusional Arsenal fan in the world, Zishan himself. Let me go ahead and add the rest of the gang to the stream. Big up, James. James, how you doing? Big up, Firma as well. How you doing? Hope everybody's good. Hope everybody's good. Right, so I'm gonna open the floor to everyone, and there's 4 games left now, right? Mathematically, logically, to some people, top 4 is still available, top 4 is still achievable, points to be won, points to be grabbed, points to be dropped. But let's go around the panel, let's go around everyone and ask everyone, except for Zishan, because I think he still thinks he can come third, except for him. DJ, do you think top 4 is still on?
Nah, not at all. I said it a few months ago. I just don't think it's. I just know these players. I've had a lot of rival fans come to me and say, no, you lot might still get it. But no, I think most United fans, most of us who know these players, these are the same players that have thrown countless managers under the bus and will down tools. So it's in their character, I'm afraid. It's in their character to always bottle it and, not try hard to the very last minute of the whistle. There are some in there that will want to try, but they can't do it all themselves. So that's the long-winded answer to say that, no, I don't think we can get top 4.
What about Scholesy fan? How do you think we still somehow make top 4? Do you have a little bit of positivity, you think?
No. Your season is done when Arsenal beats you. So, yeah. Especially the current Arsenal team. So, if you lose to them, you can't hope to achieve anything with this team.
Big up NK. NK, how you doing, bro?
Thank you for joining us.
One second. Thank you for joining the dial-in show. My phone should have been on Do Not Disturb, but it wasn't. We'll come to you, NK, soon. James, top 4. I don't even know why I'm asking you. Should I ask you this question, or should I just move on to the next person?
No, you can move on pretty quickly, mate. No, top four's been done for a while, hasn't it? What are we, 6 points behind? Or 3 points in the game in hand or whatever. It's done, man. There's no way. 4 games left. We'll be lucky to even get 6 points from them 4 games, to be honest. So, no, top 4 done, unfortunately.
All right, okay. Firma, my favorite rap artist when it comes to football. Bro, your bars are the hardest thing after Cristiano Ronaldo's free kicks, strikes, headers. Bro, you got bars, you actually, I don't know if someone's told you, but you should actually go and pick up music as a proper thing, because the way you dissect the game, it's such quick pace. Right straight after. I don't know if you guys have gone and seen his Instagram. Go and check out his Instagram, OT99 Banter Room. But my guy's got bars. But yeah, talk to us about top 4.
Bro, I feel like Stan when I'm writing these bars. I feel literally like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, Man United, it's a myth. Top 4 is a complete myth. I already knew it was a myth. I think what just burns me more than anything is that we drop points to Arsenal. I mean, my phone line has been blown up ever since. It's terrible, man. So, yeah. But, yeah, top 4, complete mad. I just hope that one day I can pick up a pen and it's positive news instead of all of this negative Nancy stuff. But, we move.
I kind of want to hear positive rhymes from you as well. I think I remember 1 or 2 games where you've been you've had positive bars. Other than that, rest of them, they've just been straight
Tottenham. I think maybe it was Tottenham. Tottenham may have been the last Maybe it
Yeah,
was Tottenham's
Tottenham
the
was a
last
hard
game.
one. Yeah.
Outside of that,
United Tunnel, how you doing, bro? Big up for joining. Big up for joining. I know you've been a big supporter of my channel, big supporter of my movement. So big up to yourself. Top 4, what do you think? Possible?
Yeah, big up to you. Big up to the all-star panel that you got going here. Top 4 is not possible, unfortunately. I'm a very positive person, but not in this case. And, you know, it's like when you ask Ralph Ragnick, every time he gets asked that question, he just looks like he wants to body slam somebody in the media. Like he's just fed up of that question being asked to him. But yeah, no, I think it's done. I think we should use the rest of the games as a preseason, you know, friendly, right? With our children playing, basically, our kids.
NK, how you doing, bro?
I'm good,
Talk
man.
to me, bro. Talk to me. You're active on the spaces, on the Twitter spaces. That's how we met. You're very vocal about your thoughts on the top 4 race and stuff. So talk to me. Do you have any positivity in you to think that we could somehow achieve top 4?
No. Somehow, you know, when some teams like doing like the relegation battle, they always say that, what do you call it? Even though there's still so much games to go, they say that they don't see how they're gonna get their wins from. It's the same thing with United. I think we got like 2 wins in the last like 2 months since like March. You know, we got like only 2 wins. You know, from a I don't see. I'm struggling to see where our next win is coming from. That's how bad it is. Forget the top 4. The question is, when is our next win?
Trebs, how you doing, bro? Big up for you for joining. How you doing, Trebs?
Listen, the season's already done. Listen, I'm hearing that we're in talks with that Paul Mitchell guy, etc. News are flying out. Reports are saying it's going to be done. It's the head of recruitment. My issue is Matt Judge for us next season because he is that chief negotiator and he's our big issue. And if Ten Hag wants to be successful here, he needs all the tools he can. Like, I've always said this, you know, our first window, every manager first window, what they do, this board does here is buy players into extend, and it's the second and third season is where they always fuck up. And this comes down now that Woodward is gone. Maybe I see positives. Maybe, yeah, John Mert, etc., and all of these and Ralph Ragnick going on stores as a consultant. The way I see it is now the social media are already questioning Ten Hag while he hasn't even arrived at the Carrington. Do you know what I mean? So it's now our fans ain't got patience. If Ten Hag does not win a trophy in his first season and he gets to a cup final and he loses, say example, he gets to a FA Cup final next year and he loses to someone like Crystal Palace or Southampton, for instance, we all know that our fans are going to turn on his head. There's no patience. And all I would say to this, everybody, most of our fan base wanted Ten Hag. 95% of the fan base. We got to be patient with him. This isn't an instant success. This isn't a quick fix. It's not like we tried this quick fix and we failed. Yeah, we tried this so-called instant success and we failed. We have to start acting like a football club now. You know what I mean? Every season it's Man City and Liverpool, and now certain of our fan base have to literally go up to the other road and say, I hope, inshallah, they win the Premier League. We don't want Liverpool winning it. Is this what we're going to come to every season? Like, we have to cheer for one rival team to win the league. When are we going to win the league? Then when are we going to actually even compete for the league? That's the question I want to ask to everybody. When? I'll tell you when fucking Matt just fucks off. That's when we will. Because then Ed Woodward fucks off. Glazers are not going to sell the club. If they let the footballing people do the football thing, we can be successful. Yeah?
I think we'll win the league.
There's a difference I say is we were successful not because of the Glazers, in spite of the Glazers. That's the way I see it.
Just to kind of answer what you were saying, I think United will win the league once they have the correct footballing people in place. And I do believe I might be one of the rare fans that actually think that even though the Glazers are there, it's a shitty situation for all of us, but we have to make the best of a city situation. And the best thing to do is to hire footballing people in the correct positions. Well, the Glazers, look, United's a cash cow to them. They're not going to get rid of that anytime soon. Yeah, hopefully they do. Fingers crossed. But at this moment in time, I think we can kind of, build around that. So in terms of building around that, you bring in your Paul Mitchells, you bring in Ralph Rangnick, you bring in Eric Ten Hag, you bring in, world-class scouting networks and all of this stuff. That's what you do. And maybe it's still not kind of what we want as United fans. I don't think it is, because we want the Glazers out, full stop. But I think then we could maybe then start building towards, winning things again. I'd like to start with a few domestic trophies, a FA Cup or a League Cup, something like that, and then build from there, I think that's when we'll start winning again.
Let's bring in Zishan. Zishan, I see you got your friend here as well. I mean, you watched the game with me on the watch along. You're very, what can I say? More than happy, obviously, because you thrashed us. Overall, it was mixed emotions. Goals we could have scored, we didn't. Xhaka's goal, which was absolutely heartbreaking. But look, now that you've beaten us, and I was just having this conversation with you before and saying you still have to face Tottenham, let's not forget. And that can also be the decider game for you. And you said Tottenham still have to play Liverpool, isn't it? So do you think Arteta masterclass done, top 4, sealed, signed, delivered for you guys?
All right. First of all, we're talking about Arsenal and Spurs here, yeah? Like,
I'd like to add something on that question. Like, I saw bro just asked, like, no, it's not entirely over, or as he has said that Arteta has delivered it. I don't think still that Arsenal could make all the way to top 4, because they are just Arsenal, and we know they have the master bowling ability. So I am still betting on Spurs. Like, if United can't make it, then Spurs I think will make it. But still, I don't think Arsenal will make it to the top 4. And they will again slip in the last few games of the season.
Let's hear from Zishan. Zishan, you were saying as well. Big up Omar for your input. Zishan, you were saying?
Yeah. Like I'm saying, bro, this is Arsenal and United. Arsenal and Spurs we're talking about. Bottlers, both teams, yeah? Obviously, my team and Spurs, they're just known for being bottlers. And obviously, I've got my mate here, who's a United fan. He's given up all hope. He doesn't trust the process no more.
Why have you tagged him along? Is this some kind of bet that he has to show his face if we lose?
He just came into my room and asked him, do you wanna hop on, voice your opinions for a bit, see what they say.
I mean, he's probably feeling just like all of us are, right? In the panel, every single one of us United fans, we're miserable right now, right? Except for you as an Arsenal fan. But then again, you change your mind like the weather. 1 minute you're Arteta in, 1 minute you're Arteta out. So that that's another situation. Let me ask you, James, talk to me about this Paul Mitchell situation, right? We have a man who has probably in footballing heritage, in current football climate, has found some of the best players that you could write on paper, right? Overall 95 plus, star quality players. Shouldn't we look to utilize him in that position instead of going and finding someone from the outside?
I think in an ideal world for me, you get Ralph Rangnick, Paul Mitchell, and Eric Ten Hag all working together as a combination of a 3. I think I did quite a bit of research into Paul Mitchell a while ago when we were linked with Pochettino, because he's worked with Pochettino in the past. He's also worked with Rangnick in the past. So I kind of had an inkling that he'd end up at United one way or the other. He worked with Rangnick at Leipzig, and he worked with Pochettino at Spurs and at Southampton. He was obviously at Monaco. He was let go by Monaco, but he's got a very good history of finding, scouting players and helping build teams. And let's not forget, that's what Ralph Rangnick is a specialist in as well. Like, if you look at the past 9 years, he spent more time as a director of football and a sporting director than he has as a manager. So even though he's coming to us as an interim manager, that wasn't the long-term plan. It was always the long-term plan for him to move upstairs. I wish it was for more than 6 days a month, as has been reported. But at the end of the day, like, the club are going to do what the club are going to do. I do agree with DJ in a way, and I kind of disagree in a way with the Glazers thing, because I've got a massive bee in my bonnet about the Glazers and always will do. I could rant about them all day, but it's all right saying we spend money, but it's whose money we're spending, right? The Glazers came in, they loaned money to buy the football club. That debt has now risen to £495 million, and they are taking dividends of £11 million each year out of the club, which is an absolute joke. They've not used their own money. Meanwhile, over the road, Sheikh Mansour has injected £2 billion of his own cash, and you only need to look over the road for how well that football club is ran, how well that investment has been spent. Everything from the youth development, the academy, the women's team, the facilities, everything is top notch, and it's showing on and off the pitch, right? Like if you rewind 23 years while we're winning the treble and they're in League One, like Division 2, and then you fast forward 23 years to now, like one team's fallen off a cliff, mate, and one team is like shot through the roof. And when I was growing up, you didn't see any City fans, and I grew up in Manchester, and you didn't see any, mate. Like my dad's the only one I know. And now they're everywhere, mate. You even see Liverpool shirts, you see City shirts, you see Arsenal shirts even. And it's almost like people are like too shy and not proud to wear the United shirt anymore because the club's a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
So anything that can happen to get us back on the top of the footballing pyramid, I'm all for. And I actually think Paul Mitchell would be a good person to have around the football club if he's given the license to work where he needs to by Joel Glazer, and he's not signing off on every minor decision. Like people have said before, it comes down to footballing people in footballing places making footballing decisions. I know the last caller had a problem with Matt Judge. Like Matt Judge is our chief negotiator, and United have had their pants pulled down in the transfer market for some while now. We get asked all the time, how come Liverpool can go and sign, Thiago for 25 million and Diaz for 40 million while we pay 80 for Harry Maguire?
Arsenal with Odegaard as well. I had this conversation. Sorry to cut you off, but Arsenal with Odegaard, how much they paid for Odegaard, and my man's full of confidence at the moment.
It's United tax, man. Honestly, it's United tax. It's been United tax for a long time. The problem is it gets reported our budget all the time, right? So someone in the Mirror will come out and be like, United have got 300 million to spend. So we'll go and approach someone and we'll be like, right, we want Chouamini. And they'll go, oh, well, they've got 300 million. So we'll put an 80 million price tag on his head. Declan Rice, they'll say, oh, yeah, if they've got 300 million, then they can spend at least 150 on Rice. Like, we just don't keep things in club as we should. And it's a big, big problem at United.
I'm going to go around, and James, thank you for bringing this right smoothly in. Look, players are going to have to come in, whether that be young players, academy players, whatever you call it, players who are on third-year scholar going into a pro contract, first-year pro contract, XYZ. We're going to need a budget overall. Let's go around and ask a couple of the panel, what do you think the ideal budget should be going into this summer? I'm going to start with you, Omar, and then I'll make my way around. Omar, what do you think? How much should our transfer budget be allocated for this summer? I think you're on mute, my bro. Yeah. Still on mute.
Yeah, thank you for the question. For me, I think we have seen that lots of transfer rumors have come around with Ten Hag. Like, I like to mention a few names, like players like Anthony or Nkunku or the likes of Timber. And what I feel like we need players of Ten Hag's style, players that Ten Hag has played in with Ajax. One player I like to mention is Edson Alvarez. He was the main player for Ten Hag in Ajax, if you have followed him. We need specific players, and one thing, Faisal bro, I have mentioned in that GC that that we need players who could play the pressing football. Like as Ralph has said after the Arsenal game, that this bunch of players that they just don't understand pressing football. So there is no point of playing the gangrene pressing with this bunch of players. And for that, if we need to have 7-8 new players, then we could do that. And for that, I think the players who are accustomed to pressing football, we need to focus on that. Even if he's a 20 years old, we need to bring him. And even if he's a 30-year-old, then we need to bring him. But as Ten Hag likes to play the pressing football, the modern brand of tiki-taka sort of football, and he likes to attack. So we need players of his module to be successful. And for that, I have mentioned we need some players from Ajax. Like I would love to see Edson Alvarez, but not too much rumor has come about him. But he is the main player of Ten Hag in Ajax. We need to grab him, and then Another thing I want to mention, in the system of Ten Hag, if you have followed, the right back is a very important position. And we have seen the player who is playing in our right back, he just can't defend. Dalot, he just can't defend. And another one is Van Bissaka, who just can't attack, or is much poor than Dalot. So we need a better right back, because right back and CDM is the most two important position in Ten Hag's style of play. So that's two positions we need to follow, and we need to make reinforcement very smartly and very sensitively. And other positions.
I'll come on to you, Omar, soon. Let me, because we've got a few panel members. I want to go around and get everyone's numbers. Scolzy fan, what do you think our transfer budget should be going into this summer?
Historically, whenever we have missed out on Champions League, the Glazers have spent big. So every other club in the world knows that. As James was saying, everyone knows we have a big budget this summer. So I think it will be around 200 million at least. Like before selling the players, I think it will be around 100 million. And after selling a few players, 150 to 200 million if they get the right price. But I don't want to go into the numbers and everything. I just hope and pray that somehow someone knocks some sense to these people and they do the business smartly. Like, you don't have to throw money in football. Yeah, obviously City, Chelsea, they have shown that there is a shortcut to it by throwing money, but United always will have money. That's not a big deal. Whoever the owner is, like Glazers are not injecting any money, but United always has money. That's the revenue we generate. But what we need right now more than anything is smart business. We don't need to spend like 80 million on a Harry Maguire, 90 million on a Pogba and letting them go for free. We need the right kind of player, even if it's a 25 million player. That's the what I want. And I don't want like the Glazers family to interfere with our like purchasing and everything. Like even if we go to the recent history, I don't think Ronaldo was Ole's choice. Ronaldo was a Glazers
That's for
purchase.
sure. Ronaldo was more of a fan
So
choice.
every few years they do this. They interfere with the coach's vision and everything. And if you remember a few years back, I think it was Mourinho or Ole who wanted to sell Martial, but it was Joel Glazer who was Martial is his prodigal son or something. He doesn't want to sell him. He would rather
he has seen Pele in him, that he was saying.
So, see, that's the difference between
the great Pele in Martial.
Yeah. See, that's the difference between Glazers and the others owners, because you won't see Abramovich interfering, saying, "This is my favorite player. I want to keep him." You will not see Sheikh Mansour or whatever the Sheikh's name is. They will not interfere with any of the footballing decision. They will let the footballing people make the footballing decision. So I think that's what we all can hope for with Rangnick.
DJ, talk to me about budget-wise. What do you think? I mean, yes, players are leaving. Yes, we need to buy players, but what's the rough budget you think we'll need to start the season off?
Yeah, good question. In terms of the budget, so if I was Manchester United, I would put it out there that I've only got maybe 80 or 90 million to spend, but the budget really be in the region of 150 million, rising to 200 with sales. That's what I would think it would be. I think every manager kind of gets their flat out 150 million to spend. I do think that maybe there could be maybe a 50 million not on top with sales. So, but I would report it slightly lower as well. That's what I would do. So I think around about 150 million.
Cool. United Tunnel, talk to me about the transfer budget in terms of if we, let's say, don't secure, well, we're not going to secure Champions League. I'm already saying it out there. I know mathematically or whatever, it might be still possible somehow, but let's say we're not securing Champions League. Does that have a detrimental impact to the transfer budget for next season in the summer?
Yeah, I think where Champions League missing out on it impacts us is when we're negotiating with players and their agents coming into our team, they can demand a higher fee. They can demand a higher wage. Say, you know what, I know you're not in the Champions League. I'd like to come, but you know what, that's another 10% that you're going to have to put on my wage. Plus we're Man United, right? So that's where it impacts us. But at the end of the day, the Glazers have money, right? We've spent $1.4 billion with a B the last 10 years. We've spent the most amount of money. We just haven't spent it well. So right now, what we got to do is make sure that the footballing decision makers spend that money wisely. I think John Murtaugh is doing a lot of good things behind the scenes right now. At least that's what the signs are showing. Proof will be in the pudding next season and the year beyond to see if that actually pans out for us. But I think we definitely need someone like a Paul Mitchell who has that experience, who has the Rolodex of contacts and say, you know what, I can call anybody, right? For us, I feel like our recruitment staff has been just perusing Twitter for the last 10 years to see what fans like us would like to bring in. And, you know, the last year, we've all been saying, oh, bring in Declan Rice. I feel it's just too expensive now to bring in someone like Declan Rice. I feel like there's many other players out there in Europe. If you're going to spend 100 million, well, okay, maybe let's take a step back and look at who else is out there. Frankie de Jong might be out there. I don't know. I would definitely bring him in a lot earlier. But, you know, to answer your question, incomings, I think 200 million. I mean, I have a list of, I mean, you know, you heard Ragnick say we need 6, 7, maybe 10 players coming
10,
in.
yeah, maybe 10, yeah.
Which means there's going to be a lot of money. Some of that might be the youth coming in from our academy, but we need at least one midfielder. Bring Donny back.
Do you know
You
one
need
good thing about missing
striker.
out on the Champions League? I'm sorry to interrupt. The one good thing about missing out on Champions League is the Glazers will probably not be able to sign Harry Kane. Otherwise, I'm sure we'd have spent 150 million on Harry Kane. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we'd have
I think
wasted that money. I don't want any
I think
30
so.
years old striker anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need a center back at least. We need a right back. If we can get a left back, do that as well. And then bring in some of the youth. That's, for me, that's like 200 plus million, just the math that I was doing. But then you can offset that with sales. You can sell Martial, Bailly, Henderson, Wan-Bissaka. If the style of football you're going to play is going to be more possession-based, which is what Ten Hag wants to play, but very vertical and high pressing, high attack, I just don't think Aaron Wan-Bissaka lends himself to that style of football. So I think we could. And what are we going to do with Pellistri and Ahmad? Are we going to bring them in? Or are we going to? We got to do something, right? We can't just hoard these players. Either bring them in, let them play, or have a spot in the squad, or sell them. So that's what I would do ultimately. So 200 plus, and then 100 mil, you can get some profits by selling as well.
I think bringing the youth in, as good as it sounds and as exciting as it sounds, it does also put a lot of pressure on them. And Man United aren't the team when it comes to youth because we gas them up too much, too early, and feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them because it puts even added pressure on top of the pressure that it is to even play for Manchester United, to even play for Premier League. Like this season, if I see any, as much as I'm so excited, Fernandez in left back, Garnacho, Hannibal, I'm really gonna like excuse them for a season or two. Let them make the mistakes. Let them enjoy themselves. Let them ease into the first team squad. Let them find their feet, you know. Let them build a relationship with the manager if they get to see first team football. Firma and NK, I'll come to you two together and you can join in together. Talk to me about how you found John Murtaugh's decision so far. For example, the contract negotiation with Ten Hag, and there was talks that give me 100% control over the squad. Obviously, this Paul Mitchell situation as well. Then Ralph Rangnick being a consultant. Do you seem somewhat happy with the direction that he's taken the club in?
First of all, I think one thing I would probably say about John Murtaugh so far that I like the most is that I think he's a guy that he understands when he needs help and when to go for help. He just doesn't sit there to say, look, I know it all and I'm going to do it all, even if he doesn't understand certain stuff. So I think that's one key thing that I like about him. Even for now, they're looking for a deputy. They're looking for other things to just make his job easy as the director of football. And that's one thing that I was going to say. With the whole interview kind of like process with like Ten Hag too, I like the way it was kind of like conducted too. But even I like it, but in a way too, I would have loved if there was more managers kind of like involved. I feel like in the end, we were only kind of like, it was only just left like just Poch or Ten Hag to just kind of like pick from. So I would have liked to know what the recruitment system was to actually like do the shortlist and how they go down to both of them. But the signs that are coming there is very good in terms of like the players, the communication, obviously with Ten Hag too, talking about control. I think he just want to just he done his research about the club, and he doesn't want to come into a place where his players are being forced upon him. So he just wanted to get things down right. And even with like the Paul Mitchell thing, yes, we can bring in all the proper footballing people, but the main question is, can all of them work together as a team? You know, can they work together as a team? That's a big question too, because you can bring what do you call it, Paul Mitchell. I think he left Tottenham because I think he fell up with Poch. That's why he left. So you don't want to be bringing people inside that the manager can struggle to kind of like work with. So as long as he understands that and is able to kind of like put those kind of like things together, I like that. But so far, so good. So far, the noise that are coming out from there is that they are putting the kind of like the right kind of like structure in place.
Yeah, he's making he's making positive steps, Murta. He's making positive steps. I think I'm getting small signs that he's open to change. Do you know what I mean? And if the board will allow him, hopefully he can continue to implement that change. I mean, Ralph Ragnick, I know it hasn't gone well in terms of the footballing side of things on the pitch, but there's only so much Ralph can do. You're hearing reports of him saying, you know, these guys are just not following instruction. You can't put, do you know what I mean? You can't run on a pitch and say, do you know what I mean? Like, run or kick the ball, whatever. That's up to the players. So I think like the good thing about Ralph Ragnick is obviously we can all see he's very outspoken. He calls a spade, and at the minute he can't wait to get back to like tear up the sheet. Do you know what I mean? And start all over again. So I'm happy that, you know, John Murtaugh's involved in decisions like that, because I ain't seen personalities like that at Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? And when you're exposing guys like Ten Hag to the club as well, someone that's got a footballing brain, someone that's obviously doing a job with Ajax right about now, it's only positive signs. It's only positive signs. You're bringing in people that's obviously, the job at Man United is massive, right? We've got to rebuild this team. Ten Hag's already done it. We've got guys that's Ten Hag that's used to working with guys that are not big names. He's currently doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Man United's going to bring in a lot of guys that are not necessarily big names. Your question before was, what is the budget? I think the budget could be 150 million, like DJ said. Maybe with sales it can be more. We've got a lot of youth that may get trialed and tested, like Ghana, etc., like that. But to be honest, I don't really want Manchester United. I think it'll be enough. I think on average 40 million a player. I don't really want us even getting Champions League, to be honest, because I think it will start attracting us to the wrong players. I trust Ralph Ragnick and Ten Hag, but I don't want us to look at those big names. I really want us to, even Darwin Núñez is good, but we need to strip it all back. We need to find the stars before the stars. I think Darwin Núñez, we should have got him before. You know what I mean? Not now.
One thing I'd just like to just jump in quickly is in terms of identifying players. I think United they're gonna have to find a happy medium in terms of how they spend this money. So what I was saying is I think the Pogba replacement will be Donny, because it's like having a new player back. So he will be the Pogba replacement. Then they will try and go and get a very good CDM. Might not be Declan Rice. I don't think it will be. I think, you know, a Calvin Phillips is a safe bet. You know what you're going to get with him. You know, there's obviously talks about Neves and stuff like that. It depends what Ten Hag wants, but I reckon that will be the biggest sign in the CDM. I think where the fullback situations come in, I do not mind getting an upper-coming, some like a player between 22 and 24 who's a left back, maybe playing in La Liga somewhere. I don't mind, as long as they fit the correct profile. I think maybe Ahmad will come back. If we can't price someone like Anthony away from Ajax, or I think Ahmad does fit that profile, exact same profile, not as good, but fits that profile of right-sided, left-footed winger, inverted, very technical, quick, skillful. I think they may decide and say, actually, you know what, we can save some money here and bring Ahmad back in and give him some games next season. I think, you know, Ghana will come in as another option. You still have McTominay, you still have Fred. Matic is going as well. So I think they will do little things like that. I don't think it's going to be wholesale. Oh, Núñez comes in with this player and this player and this player. It'd be nice. It would be nice. But I think if we can do it smart, we still save a lot of money going forward for other transfer windows as well. So it just depends. It depends how it goes, really.
I think the January transfer window could be important, because if Ten Hag wants to assess the players he's got, you know what I mean? The January one, I know everyone's expecting big things in summer. It could be January.
I was going to say the first player that we sign this summer / the next transfer window that Ten Hag has, the second transfer window, the first player that comes in will probably tell me the direction this club is going in. either he has control or he doesn't have control, and we go and sign 100 million plus player. I'm
And
not
also
saying
the timing will be very, very key. Like get some players in before preseason. I think that's very, very key. He needs to go into preseason with his players. So how quick can United do the transfers? Because that has been one of our biggest problems, the timing of the transfer. So how quick can you get these players in before preseason to allow the new manager time to work with them?
Yeah, well, NK, I think they're working towards maybe doing everything a little bit quick. I think that would have been part of the discussion with Ten Hag when he came on board. I think all of that would have been discussed, and I think if we are to believe sort of like the rumors and stuff like that, if Paul Mitchell does come in, let's say within the next week or so, that's when I think I kind of like it, because we're doing what we need to do. Remember, we still got 4 games to play, so they're already changing personnel before the season's done. So by the time the season's done, players start going on holiday and stuff like that. United should be around in the war room, as I like to
goes on
say.
holiday. Nobody is going on holiday this season. No, I don't care.
It's a short transfer
Ain't nobody
window too.
going on no holiday. I don't want to see a single picture of yachts, bad bees, chains,
I say bad
cars,
bees.
nothing. Nobody deserves a holiday after this season, and you go on holiday. No
Probably
way.
Harry
You're on
Maguire
holiday
will
all
go to
season.
Greece again.
Cavani's
But they
been
all
on
went,
holiday all
right?
season.
Just 2
Pogba's
months
going
ago.
on holiday already. I'm gonna bring in Akshay. Big up Akshay. Thank you for joining, bro. Thank you for always supporting me as well and my movement. I'm gonna bring in you and Zishan's friend. I'll just call you Zishan's friend until I find out your name. If you could position your camera so I could see you as well, bro. Talk to me, bro. What's your name? And thank you for joining in today. And yeah, you seem stressed. You seem stressed out, bro. You have to live with this guy as well. This Arsenal fan next to you.
I know, man. It's long. But in terms of transfers, I agree with DJ. About what we should say to the media. 80 million. We have 80, 90 million, and then we just go in, negotiate. Because I don't know who said it before, but it's right. United have always been shagged differently by teams when it comes to transfers. They always, once they see that we're interested, that 50 million price tag goes up to 75, or that 40 million price tag goes up to 60. Honestly,
that 100 grand a week goes up to 180.
Exactly, and it's just because since Sir Alex Ferguson, we've just been known for throwing money about like it grows on trees. And with the Glazers, we just have to get on with the Glazers, man. Like, they're not selling us anytime soon. We're Manchester United. Like, see how bad we've been doing on the pitch, and still we are a global powerhouse. We make a lot of money. Probably making more money than Manchester City, and they've won how many Premier League titles since Sir Alex Ferguson?
Well, actually, it's just recently.
This is the first year they made more than us.
I've been making
This is the first year they've made more money than us. Well, that says a lot. Yeah. That's the first time they've made more money than us.
Yes, that's the first time. Yes,
but
so they have been making quite a bit of money. Is last season actually reported that they turned over quite a bit of million because of their success. So all that investment that the Sheikhs have made is finally starting to show dividends.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, we just need the right footballing people in the right positions, technical director, head of recruitment, obviously, Paul Mitchell. And that's a step in the right direction, I'd say. It's a step in the right direction. What we do in the transfer market, that's what's going to make or break our next season. Because we already have a good team anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Actually, I'll come to you now, bro. Talk to me about your summer transfer budget and what do you think your favorite kind of take would be for Ten Hag and John and Arnold to take this transfer market? How much do they spend?
I think historically, if we look at when we fall into Europa League, we tend to spend too much, right? So this time also, if we fall into Europa League, maybe we might spend big, but I don't want to our club to spend big, because if we are going to spend big, then let's say, for example, 150 or 200 million, then we will end up having those marquee signing. I know Declan Rice is a good player, and they are talking about Harry Kane, but I think now it's more important to have good stable players, not like big marquee players like English players. So I want to avoid that going forward as well, and I want to make sure like whatever the player the manager wants, along with the board. They discuss themselves and decide this player is going to be a good going for the future as well. Because when Eric Ten Hag comes in, right, he will want some different player which fits his style of play. So if he may come in and say no, Declan Rice may not fit, then we have to look for the other option as well, right? And yeah, so long story short, I don't want to. I would like the board to avoid the mistake which we have been doing to sign the players, because any player linked with Manchester is a 25 million plus, whatever the
Mm.
market price plus 25 million. And everyone knows outside that they are going to rebuild, so they are kind of not desperate, but they are kind of need the players whosoever fits in. So that's what the market is for Manchester. If the player is like 40 million, we end up paying them 55 million, 57 million, and like that. So, and plus the wages are always top 30 players in the Premier League. We have highest earner, we have 10 players.
Mm.
And talking about the players who are, sorry, the people who are at the board level, I think they made a one or two things which kind of they get rid of the two scouts, right? I know they're sacked, but I think it's kind of revolution, I would say. And then maybe a Paul Mitchell come in, maybe that's a good sign. And I never wanted to club to sign Pochettino, so and they also did the same thing. So these two three things which they did, it looks like they are going to rebuild, but I still have my reservation because our owners is a Glazer, right? You know that. So maybe they would do something, okay, get Ten Hag and 2-3 players in, and then what if after that 1-2 years they would turn their back on and they will still keep on collecting the dividend. So yeah, as long as the Glazers are there, even if we sign like Ten Hag and even if we try to rebuild, that it's gonna take time. So it's better we not guess up too much about Ten Hag. Just go with the flow. That's
I'm gonna ask this brings me on to nicely to the Glazers situation, right? I'll bring James and United Tunnel in this. Let's say, for argument's sake, next season we get Champions League somehow. Ten Hag does well, he gets us Champions League. The season after that, we go and have a great run in a domestic cup. Do we start forgetting Glazers out? Um, and maybe season 3 we go in and maybe win a domestic cup and do okay in Europe. Do we start saying, actually the Glazers are the one for us? They've called the right movements. We're going in the right direction. Do we start maybe start liking them?
Mate, we won the Champions League in 2008 in May. I was in a Glazers out protest in July 2008. We won the Premier League in 2013. I was at a Glazers out protest in 2014. Like, that kind of success has no relevance on whether I want the Glazers at the football club. Manchester United, as was said before, are successful in spite of the Glazers, not because of the Glazers. So anyone that forgets that needs their head screwing on, because they are a big, big problem at the football club. Now, we can be successful in spite of them. We had David Gill, we had Sir Alex Ferguson, two absolute geniuses that managed to win us a couple of league titles and a Champions League during their tenure. But as we've seen over the road, and as I brought up before, if you allow the right investment in the right areas and people actually pumping money into the club, then that's a draw for success, right? We don't. We have people taking money out of the club, and you can talk about $1.4 billion spent, but $1.4 billion from who? It's not from them. It's not. And if anyone believes that, it's not from them. So, like, a little bit of success won't detract me away from this. Like, honestly, like, people think, the Glazers in particular, think we're like magpies with shiny objects, right? Like, we'll go to have a protest at the Liverpool game, and the game will get called off, and it's all fantastic. And then a couple of days later, they'll announce this fan forum, or the Super League thing comes out, and then they'll announce the fan forum afterwards, and they'll be like, oh, we're trying to meet with the fans. And then there'll be a massive fallout from that. And then they'll announce Varane and Ronaldo and Sancho and think we all forget. The people that love Manchester United Football Club, mate, will never forget the fact that they have ruined our football club. And I talk about it all the time. I said our football club died in 2005, right? And people come at me like, no, we won a Champions League in 2008. We won a Premier League in 2013. So we couldn't have died in 2005. And I always come back at them with this, right? If touch wood, you were diagnosed with cancer tomorrow in 2022, you lived a happy life for 8 years, did everything you wanted to do, and you died in 2030, did your death become terminal in 2022, or did it become terminal in 2030? And no, it became terminal at your time of diagnosis, mate, which is 2022. So just because you happen to live a normal, happy life for 8 years doesn't mean that cancer didn't start 8 years ago. And that cancer started in 2005, mate. And people that don't realize that need to wake the fuck up.
James, I didn't know you had so much what's the wisdom? I know you got a lot of muscle.
Only with the Glazers,
I didn't know you have so much
only
wisdom.
With the Glazers, I fucking hate them. Fucking hate them.
I would just like to add one thing. If it wasn't for the Glazers, we'd have at least one more Champions League title. We saw Ronaldo for 75 million and we bought no one.
Obertan, Owen.
Yeah. And Valencia. Yeah. We went into 3 Champions League finals, and if we had reinvested properly, we'd have at least won one more.
I'll bring in United Tunnel as to the same question for you, about the Glazers situation. Do we become happy, or do we start forgetting about them eventually, or what do we do?
Can I just add a question to it?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you really think the protests are bothering the Glazers? Does it bother them at all? The last time I thought it bothered the bid was after the Super League thing, but I don't think they care anymore.
More than doing nothing.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think there's multiple reasons why everyone's upset with the Glazers, and rightly so, right? One, they bought the club in a terrible way. Like they leveraged the club on debt. They spent probably only $200 million. That's it for a club the size of Manchester United. You can buy the worst team in the NBA right now for $2 billion. The worst team in the NBA. So Man United is a global brand. It's one of the best brands, not just in football, but in any sport in the world. Right. And I live in Toronto. I can say that we're like the Yankees, we're like the Lakers, we're like these. You can't imagine. Right. So that's one. 2, we're not winning. So that compounds the issue. And 3, they're disconnected from the club. Like the optics don't look well for them. They're offshore. They're in Florida somewhere across the pond. There's no connection. They don't speak to the fans. The only person who speaks to the fans directly is the manager. That has to change. It can't just be Ten Hag speaking to us every Friday or Saturday. It can't be him. I'd like to see John Murtaugh speak. I'd like to see Richard Arnold speak, and not speaking to quarterly analysts every 3 months. I want them speaking directly to us, right? I'd like Ten Hag to focus on coaching. I'd like them to tell us about where we're going to go in the next 12 to 18 months, and then hold them accountable on top of that, right? And then I'd like to see the owners speak to us directly as well. I know that they spoke to Manchester United Supporters Trust like a year ago, and speak directly to us. I couldn't get on that Zoom call. I'd like to understand where this club's going realistically. Because I think we're making moves in the right direction, but there's a lot that they've got to do to repair. It's going to be, I think, very difficult to get rid of the Glazers. Because ultimately, they just count their money, right? The only way I think we can make a difference in impacting the Glazers is by speaking their language, and that's the dollar, right? The bottom line. If they don't see people going to the stadiums, that's one, right? If that's difficult, then you hit them in different places. The subscriptions that you're renewing, the jerseys that you're buying, all those things contribute to the Glazers' success, which is dollar at the end of the day, right?
I
Can
definitely
I just touch
agree
on the
with
match
you.
day revenue thing, because people label this at us all the time, like me and Faz and various others. We go to the matches, right? And people say, "Oh, you live in Manchester. It's up to you, fans. You just need to not go to the games, right? Like that'll get rid of the Glazers. Just don't go." Listen, if I give up my season ticket, that ticket will be sold to some tourist that will pick it up. They'll go and spend £100 or £200 in the mega store, and that puts more money in the Glazers' pockets. Actually, match day revenue is a very, very small percentage of what the Glazers make from Manchester United. So just throwing it around and saying match day fans shouldn't go and support their team, I don't think is the solution to the problem at all. And I'm pretty sick of hearing it from like armchair fans on Twitter that match day fans shouldn't go. And like it's easy for you just shouldn't go. You're supporting the Glazers by going. No, I'm supporting my football club in the way that I see how.
Yeah, and I'm as well. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say. By the way, and for me, my comments for me are not part of that extremist group who say that you're part of the problem. Definitely not, right? I go to I'm wearing a Raptors hat here.
I was going to say,
I go to Raptors games.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So totally. I mean, it's just I think if everyone does things in their own way, I think it'll help, right? But I agree with you, James. Sorry, go ahead, Fast.
I was gonna say is matchday fans, we go and me and James, we go to every game, and regardless of if we spend or not in the stadium, in the shops or whatever, there is no denying Manchester United as a brand, the attraction that it has. It is ridiculous. People flying in from across the globe just to see one game against Norwich or Newcastle. And these fans will pay ridiculous money just to get inside Old Trafford, just to buy that one T-shirt. So as much as it's easier said, to stop spending, don't do this, but it's very hard for fans that are diehard, Man United fans. They just want to go and see the changing room, for example, do a museum tour. And before you know it, they've spent £300-400 in the club. And that is, like James also said, the smallest percentage of income, the revenue that this club brings in for the Premier League and just for itself through TV is ridiculous. I mean, I read this stat where Ronaldo brought more money for every single team in Serie A than the history of Serie A because of him being in that league. He brought so many people, so many viewers, so many eyes into that league before he came in. So now that we've signed Ronaldo back, I mean, think of the ticket prices, the season ticket demands, Ten Hag coming in. Manchester United as a brand, it'll never die out, I don't think. It's too big. It's too colossal. Hit them where it hurts, the Glazers. It's true, but I don't think the Glazers are that type of family to even let go. The way they've got a hold of Manchester United now with both hands, this is, and Ed Woodward helped them with the transaction as well. They've got a hold of this gold mine, of this potential, production of gold that they will get. There's something back in future. And we all hope Manchester United eventually will go on to win Champions League, will go on to win Premier League. And Glazers are thinking, when we do, these little fans will start loving us again. We just need to be patient, hold it out, and eventually we'll get them. And I have a big problem with the Glazers myself, but it's one of those things, right? Fans, not us in general, we're diehard fans, but there are fans who will be forgetful, who'll forget about the Glazers when they see some sort of silverware, when they see a little dinner plate, when they see a FA Cup. No disrespect to any cup, but they'll start forgetting. I'll bring DJ and Firma in, and I want to move the conversation on quickly to players, right? The starting 11 for next season. A lot of confusions, a lot of talk about this person needs to go, this person can stay, this person is coachable, and it's very mixed. Some people, Dalot in, he's young, he's coachable. Some people absolutely hate De Gea's guts. He can't distribute for shit. He's really bad in terms of the modern day goalkeeper. Maguire obviously out. But let's bring you two in and talk me through your starting 11 for next season, and not starting 11 as in the current players, bring in as in transfers and everything, and give me your starting 11 plus the bench as well for next season. I'll start with you, DJ, and then I'll come to Firma, and then I'll make my way around.
Yeah, so I think sort of just before I get into that, I just think, we have to prioritize this summer. We definitely have to prioritize. We're not going to get everything we want in one summer. If we do, that's amazing. That's a miracle in itself. So starting out, I would keep De Gea. For me, goalkeepers need to do what they're paid to do, and that is stop the ball from going back in the net. I do think he can be coached by Ten Hag to, fulfill the modernized keeper role.
Thank you. I personally thank you for that, because I'm sick and tired of people saying David De Gea. Oh, I'm sick of it. Call me emotional, call me attached. I don't care. But he is a world-class keeper, and he's 30 years old. Can he change his style of play? Yes, he can. I don't care. Yes, he can.
He's definitely the best goalkeeper with his feet in the world, and at least saving the ball.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the thing for me. My keepers, first and foremost, we can all have keeper sweepers and all that. Is beautiful, is great. But for me, my keeper needs to be able to be a shot stopper. first and foremost for me anyway. Everyone's different what they like. So David De Gea in goal. Dalot doesn't make it right back for me, so I'm going to leave that blank. In terms of maybe going out and getting a right back, I did want Ethan Laird to be given a chance, but I don't think his loan spell's been too good. But there is a player in there, and I'd love nothing more than Ethan Laird to be our starting right back in the future. I think
Fernandez and Timber. I just want to add there. Timber can play right back as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So actually, you know what? I'm actually going to change that. I'll put Timber right back because I don't think Timber will come in and displace Varane. I don't think that will happen. As long as Varane's fit, I think it'll be Varane. I think it'll be Lindelof as starting for Ten Hag.
Wow.
And I think on the left, it would be lovely for Alvaro Fernandez to come in and start getting games on the left. I think maybe Shaw will still be at the club, I do believe. I think it might be Tellers that misses out. Going into midfield, I'd like to have Calvin. I'll have Phillips in there, and I'd have Hadara from Leipzig. I'd like to have those two in there, and then I would have my preference, Donny, as the 10 for me.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
They questioned his legs in the Premier League, and they've said he's not physical enough for the Premier League.
What he does? So for everyone that's watched Donny van der Beek, the thing that he does is he does a lot of his work off the ball, and he also does, and for me as well, he moves the ball quickly. So instead of McTominay dribbling, flipping 5 to 10 yards, Donny does that in one pass. He progresses the ball in one pass instead of having to dribble.
Oh, DJ's connection.
Classic DJ internet.
Classic DJ.
Classic
DJ doing DJ things. We'll move on to you, Firma, and then we'll bring DJ back from the midfield. So go on, bro. Talk us through your starting 11.
Oh, DTG, man. David De Gea in goal. I mean, his shot stepping's just amazing. I know people are onto him about his distribution, but I do feel like he deserves anyway the opportunity to be coached. Do you understand? And get that sort of Ten Hag support. So
can I just add something to it? As much as I love David De Gea, but I like causing politics. At 30 years old, can he really be coached? I mean, this man's been coached for obviously all his life. He's played in international level. He's won trophies. At this stage, do you really teach an old dog how to do new tricks?
If he hasn't learned how to come off his line for corners, what make you think he's be able to learn how to pass the ball?
Look, if he can't pass the ball right, throw with your hands. You know, if we're playing out from the back, do you know what I mean? We probably don't need to be distributing it so far. We'll learn hopefully how to beat the press. You know, there's ways around it hopefully, and I think Ten Hag at least needs the opportunity. Look, we're talking about David De Gea. He's been saving us for many years. He deserves the opportunity to still be in goal and be coached by Ten Hag. So I'll keep him in there. Left, the fullbacks is stress for me because they're all just the same to me. It's really difficult. But I think Luke Shaw, keep him because of the English quota as well. We need to have our numbers up anyway. Telles is probably on the agent side. But I do acknowledge that Luke Shaw's contract could be an issue right now because of his high wages. But yeah. And then left back, yeah, youth team, man. I'll go into the youth team and then bringing a left back to just cover from the youth, man. Right back, Ethan Laird. I'll keep Wan-Bissaka as well because I know people are onto Wan-Bissaka, right? He's terrible and this and that, but look.
Can I be honest? I keep him as well.
I'll keep him. Do you know why? Because with all these poor positioning, Dalot recently hasn't been showing me anything himself, do you understand? Even with going forward and positioning. The one thing I do know what Wan-Bissaka can do at least is a slide tackle.
Thank you.
Dalot, right, is just...
He'll save, he'll do so, he'll fumble the most, but that slide tackle is so accurate, he will at least wipe the guy or the ball out.
It's tough, man, because I know Dalot's good on his feet. He's got a little shot on him. He's got that in his locker, so it depends what you like. Do you know what I mean? It really does depend what you like, but for me, we're leaking goals again. Something that I thought Ralph Rangnick will sort out, and it's just worrying me a bit. Midfield, I like the fact that we're looking at guys that I ain't never heard of. So we'll look to some guy from River Plate, Enzo, whatever. Is it Fernandez or whatever his name is? And again, that excited me. I don't really know nothing about him, but Argentinian, young midfielder. Look, I'm all for it. I'm all for those new talents, just because I know that you know, Ralph Ragnick and those guys are good at scouting guys. So I'm all for that. Outside of that, though, you know, we've got obviously Fred. I want him in there for his energy. Garner, bring him back to the subs bench. But you know, I'd really like a Tchouaméni, you know. But I'm just talking because of our budget here and bringing in random names. But I really like a Tchouaméni.
I would love him too.
Left. Do you know what? I'll put Sancho AMC. I'll probably try him out as an AMC. I might try him out as an AMC. I know, and then probably if we can't, if we probably get Nkunku, put him on the left. On the right, if we've got the budget for it, I mean, if we've got a budget for it, we can try an Anthony. Do you know what I mean? Ten Hag's worked with him, and then up top, man, Ronaldo's obviously, but and then if we can afford like a Darwin Nunez or whatever, then put him there. But I understand he's gonna come as a big pay packet. So, but yeah, between Nkunku, Anthony, Sancho, AMC, whoever at top, I don't really mind.
I just want to ask one question. Can I?
Yeah, go
on. What is your guys' thought on Richarlison? Considering if Everton get relegated, you know, maybe we can buy him 10, 20, 25 million less. If, let's say, for example, Everton get relegated, then can he not be a player? Because I kind of like him, but I'm not sure what you guys
think he's good. I think he's got strength, his pace, hard working. He can do
today
a
he
little
was
bit
good
of everything.
as well. Against Liverpool today he was good as well. I
Good
saw
on the
him
head,
kinda
fast.
good on hand, physical, but
he can play across the
I'm
front
not
line.
sure. It's always about opinion, but
it's about the money, though.
Yeah, I like him. The only thing is that today I saw him in the liver, and I see it all the time. When he gets hurt, he gets a little knock. He just stays on the ground and he complains, and he's just looking for calls.
He's Bruno Mark too.
Yeah, Bruno does
he's
that
Bruno.
as well. So.
He takes it to another level, and I just don't like that. I think just get up, right, and play the game. That's how I see it personally. But he's a good player.
I have two reasons for not purchasing him. I have two reasons. Like, one, he's Latin American. Latin Americans historically have failed in United mostly. I don't remember the last time any Latin American player succeeded. Even Fred, probably the most successful one. And the second one is EPL tax. Every time we go to buy a player from EPL, one of the other English clubs, we overpay for them. So I don't want to do that. Even if Everton gets relegated, we'll still be paying like 70, 60 million for him. I think there are much better options in that range.
Well, his transfer value, what does it become if they get relegated? Is it 25 million?
No. It should be around 40 to 45.
No, not 20, 30 million or something like that, isn't it? If
he doesn't have any buyout clause or anything, so it's all on negotiation.
So I'll bring NK in. NK, I know you already have, by your looks, you already have your starting 11 ready. You're gonna kick my goalkeeper out. You're gonna kick my best centre back for England in England's history, Harry Maguire. You're gonna kick him out. Talk me through. You know what? Just before, I want to also mention, there must be something Harry Maguire possesses that us as fans cannot see. Like the way this man still will play for Manchester United. And I know me and James had a thing. He said, obviously Maguire didn't play. And still I'm talking about Maguire and Varane was poor. Sure, yes, I agree with you, James. But the fact is Maguire is going to stay in the club. No matter how much I want him to leave or whatever, he's going to stay in the club. And there must be something, considering the amount of pride and ego this man has to say that he plays good. That's why the managers pick him. Like, as if he doesn't sit there and watch his own performance, as if he doesn't sit there and look at or even hear the fans booing him in his own stadium. But yeah,
the thing is, Maguire, there are good qualities about him as a defender, but the biggest thing about him is that he doesn't understand his weakness. As a player, you need to understand your weakness, and once you understand your weakness, you play so that your weakness does not highlight it. But he play like first of all, you don't have pace, and as a player, when you don't have pace, you need to be very careful with like your positioning when you are playing. 100%. He literally goes anywhere on the pitch as if like he got that recovery pace. I think he just needs to understand his weakness, and once he understands his weakness as a player, he will be able to kind of like literally make sure that his qualities can kind of like be more of a strength kind of like to him. And that's the biggest thing about him that I don't like, you know. Don't go be kind of like pressing when you know that players can easily turn you out. Don't be drifting towards the left when you know that you don't have like the what do you call it, the pace to kind of like recover. John Terry will never do that. He wasn't the fastest guy there. You know, learn how to read a game, and then you can just start to do the other thing else too.
I just want to add to it as well. Rio Ferdinand said in a podcast himself that during his younger years, he would purposely put himself in an awkward position to give the striker the edge, so the striker thinks he can outrun him, because Rio Ferdinand was a crazy, person like that. He wanted that challenge. But as the years progressed, Rio said to himself, I can't outrun these strikers. I can't outturn these strikers. So I'm not going to give them the edge. It's learning that weakness within your game. As your age goes on, things start decreasing, pace start decreasing. You have to say, well, let me use my strength instead of speed. Let me not give him, he's weaker on his left foot. Let me show him the right. So he goes on his left foot and I can tackle him that way. These type of things I totally agree with you. I don't think Harry Maguire does that. He doesn't look at his weaknesses. He thinks he can outrun certain strikers, and he can't. And strikers end up turning him, and he ends up, flat on his ass or on his face. We've seen it time and time again. And one of my biggest issues with Harry Maguire, honestly, is the set piece. As a huge centre back, you must be able to at least connect. You should be the target man when it comes to set piece. You should, I would forgive him like I do with De Gea. He has shot stopping. All his other things, you can almost outbalance it. With Harry Maguire, I would outbalance it if he was at least clinical or somewhat efficient in set piece. Is it his fault? Is it the set piece coach's fault?
The set piece one, the set piece one, the finish, that one I will not blame him. I think I'll blame the other players. I always say when the corner comes inside, Ronaldo and Maguire, they are our best headers too. The other players need to be blocking the other defenders so that they can't get a jump like how they do. So block them. If you watch the one that Ronaldo scored, they literally, I think Lindelof was the guy. Lindelof literally blocked one of the guys to make a run and follow Ronaldo. So that's what they need to be doing. Block the other runs and allow Maguire and Ronaldo time to literally just jump and get him back. If you don't block those runners, they are always going to be occupied with other players trying to kind of like drag them down or maybe follow them so that they can't just get a proper jump. So that one, I blame more of the players around them. But the other ones, he takes most of the responsibility.
I think the delivery has been poor as well from the corners.
Yeah.
Talk to me then, moving on. Talk to me about your starting 11.
You know what? As much as I don't want De Gea to be in my first 11, I feel like he will start the season as number one. But I think he will end the season out of the team. I really feel like he will end the team as in the team. He will make too many mistakes because with him, I think it's not even the fact that he cannot pass. He got a confidence issue. He got a massive confidence issue that has stopped him from having to come out from like the corners. You're allowed to make a mistake, and that's how you learn from it. But he got this fear thing where he feel like I don't even want to come and make that mistake because they're gonna be talking about it. So I'm just gonna be safe. So that one. As long as he does, he's too old to cut back from his game. So he will start that too. Right back, I will go with Delort as right back. I feel like progressive passing, he's very good at that too. Yesterday, the game, he could have easily had 2 goals too. Yes, the crossing is not good, but under a manager like Ten Hag, are we really going to be crossing too many balls like that? No. We might be doing what City does where it's like those like low cutbacks, So maybe he will be good in that too. And I'll have if he let us as his backup. Centre back, I will have before Varane there. I will buy Timber, play him next to it too. I know it's a big adjustment in the Premiership too, but I think, first season is a learning curve anyway, so I'll put him next to that. Left back, as much as I hate Luke Shaw, I feel like he will still go into it as our first choice left back. And then I will put, the youth guy, Fernandez, as a backup one that if he slip up, then he will be in a good position to kind of like take care of it too. In the middle, if money talks, I say go get me Chomeni from Monaco, come play a DM2, and or even if he can't get him to, then I'll go for Phillips from Leeds to come and do the DM2. On the 8th,
if you had to pick one out of Phillips and Chomeni,
huh?
Pick one.
Oh, it has to be what do you call it, Chomeni, man. Like the guy's quality, young, powerful. You can just tell that his development is going to be massive, man. Whatever club get him, he's going to have a player for the next like 10 to 15 years. Easy, man, easy. So he will be my first choice too. 8. If we have the money, I feel like we need 2 midfielders. If you have the money, I'll go for what do you call it, Ruben Neves from Wolves to play next to what do you call it, Chumeni. If not, I will use Fred as backup. You know, I give Fred like 1 or 2 years. I think after 1 or 2 years, he will slowly, easily move out. But for now,
I
he'll
thought
be
you were
used.
going to say 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, you know, he can press, but once again, too, when you have a manager that's going to keep more of the ball, the thing about Fred is when the more time you give him time on the ball to pass, the more mistake that he does. You know, he likes to play in the counter attack where give it to him and straight away like release it. But if we don't get like Ruben Neves, I will keep him as the 8 for that too. My 10, I will have Donny as my 10, man. I think Ten Hag play him as a 10 when it was Ajax. I see him literally play him there. He can connect. He can play those kind of like simple pass. He can play 1-2. So I will literally have him there over Bruno. I will shift Bruno on the right-hand side. If we cannot get someone like Anthony to come inside, I will shift Bruno on the right-hand side. A bit like how Tadic play for Ajax, where they put him over there. He's not the quickest kind of like player too, but he also loses the ball too quite a lot, a bit like what Bruno does. But in those positions, he's been able to like lose it and still not affect the team too much too. On the left has to be Sancho, what do you call it? Sancho for me on the left, potentially. And backup two will be, what do you call it? Rashford on the backup two, just in case Sancho get injured too. The striker one, I think Ronaldo start off it, but if I have money, I'll go by Richarlison, you know, as backup to Ronaldo too.
Wow,
Not only can he play as a striker, but he can play along any of those front line too. Because you need that. You need players that can be able to play 1 or 2 multiple kind of like positions too, just in case like injuries or you don't want to make your squad too much big. You need players that can play multiple kind of like positions just because so that you can kind of like rotate if you need be. And that would probably be my team.
You know, I have this thing with you didn't mention Darwin Núñez, but you know, set players like these that are currently on smoke and we've never heard of them before. All of a sudden they're having a sick season, and obviously because what do you call it, Ten Hag coming in, there's that connection of young, hungry striker who's putting numbers on the board. He's gonna, if we sign him, he's gonna have this picture of him when he was a kid with a Man United top. He's gonna say Man United is my favorite team, you know, all of this gas and smoke and everything. Next thing you know, boom, flop, and we're like hands on our head. We're thinking, what the hell have we gone and spent nearly 100 million on?
With me, I'm very wary buying players from foreign league. You know, I rather we kind of like get them from like if we can get them from the Premiership first, I would do that. You know, I feel like Liverpool have been one of the best examples that I know. You know, most of the signings that they got, what do you call it, Van Dijk from Premiership too, Mane from the Premier League too. What's that Newcastle midfielder that they got from the Premiership too? When they were starting their team, I felt like most of the players came from the Premiership, and then once they had the foundation set, that's when they went outside the Premiership. Even Mohamed Salah that came from Roma had Premiership experience too. And once you do that, they are already kind of like used to like the intensity of the league. When you get someone else that kind of like coming, their first season is very crucial. If they get it wrong in the first season, confidence-wise, they go down, and by the time you know, the press have been on their case, and they cannot recover from that. Memphis was the perfect one. He came in, so much potential, couldn't hack with the intensity. The press got onto him. After that, he just wasn't the same player anymore, and then we just had to kind of like sell him too.
I think you're scarred from previous signings, and I feel like
no, but in the Premiership, it's like that for most teams too. A lot of, like, you know, City, for example, when they bring players in here, they always have that 1 year to adapt.
Thank
United,
you.
we don't have that. We don't have that for them to kind of like
into
adapt.
the deep end. Yes,
exactly. We're gonna throw him in this in there, and if they start making mistakes after mistake after mistake, fans get onto their back, the media get onto their back, and then they also, as a player, they lose confidence too. And once they lose the confidence too, it's very hard for them to kind of like get it back. You know,
But ain't that down to poor recruitment and the mishmash of different manager styles?
You
That's
know
why
what,
I say
Firma?
try to get
I
them
have to
more from
agree
the
with you,
Premiership
brother.
before we go to the other
I have
places
to
too.
agree with you, brother. Firma, I gotta agree with you, brother, because NK, man, obviously you've made some great points in regards to, you know, some of our signings and, you know, City having the opportunity to be able to, you know, settle with some of the signings that they've got. But I just feel that in these past 10 years post Ferguson, our recruitment has been absolutely shocking. It's been poor from top to bottom, not just with the players on the pitch, but I'm talking about the scouting system that we had previously. I'm talking about the recruitment of managers, for example, that someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for example, let's just say that yes, as an interim, he obviously done a decent job, but football-wise, he wasn't the man that we needed to get Manchester United back into the perch, like back on top. And I just feel that with Ralph now coming in, obviously he's going to be going to the top. He's going to be having that consultancy role, of course, so he's going to have a big influence on recruitment. So I definitely feel that if you have someone like a Ralph on top, and obviously Ten Hag coming in, dealing with the signings, we can start to have a vision and a strategy towards the players that are coming in, because it's been very with our signings, it hasn't really made sense in like, it hasn't made sense. Some of the signings that we've made have been very, like, what's the word?
Haphazard.
Random, no vision behind it. It's just very, like, emotional signings as well. Like, look, Ronaldo is one of my, he's my favorite player of all time in this generation. I feel he's the GOAT of this era. But I just definitely feel that us signing Ronaldo was just a reason to, one, stop City from signing him, and two, for the shirt sale. So already you can just see already that the Ronaldo signing wasn't for football basis, but it was purely based on commercial basis. So already there,
But
you can
still,
just see
Trey, I'm
Manchester
really sorry.
United
I'm going to let you
structurally
finish,
was
Trey.
just poor.
I'm going to let you finish, Trey. But regardless of what you say, man's put numbers on the board.
Yeah.
Without his goals this season, we would have been finished.
100%.
Double-digit position. We would have been out in Europe before the group stage.
100%. Look, I'm not saying that Ronaldo is the problem. Look, Ronaldo is my guy. Ronaldo is, we should be thanking Ronaldo for us not being like 10th or 9th, or we should be even worse than where we are now. Even our Champions League run, for example, if it wasn't for Ronaldo, we would have got knocked out ages ago. My point is, like, look, I'm for Ronaldo. I don't think he's the problem, but I'm just giving you an example of how structurally, how poor our decision making has been at the top. Like, it's been great having Ronaldo, but if you think about it from a business perspective, like, they signed him, one, to stop him from going City, and two, also because of the commercially, it's going to bring the club much more riches. So from a business perspective, it was a great signing, but
it was also the fairy tale, isn't it? It's like the
it was a fairy tale.
And also another key factor is that even if he came and he was very successful, he's too old that we cannot build on him for the future.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
And that's another thing too. You get players like that. Say he get the numbers that he get this season. Next season, the new manager cannot come and say, "Look, I want to build my team around Ronaldo," because he's old and he's going to be leaving. We've done the same thing with Cavani. So that, I think the age thing is very crucial too.
Have we even replaced Rooney? Like, when's the last time we had a proper striker? I feel like we've been having Falcao's and Ibrahimovich's for a very long time.
Let me ask you guys, because you guys are all passionate United fans and absolutely love it, man. Me personally, I think one of our issues, Manchester United, is our midfield. I feel that our midfield has never been balanced, and the mistake that we made, in my opinion, is letting go Ander Herrera. Letting him go for free to PSG was the biggest mistake that we made. Reason being is,
I think our most balanced midfield was post Ferguson was Herrera, Matic, Pogba. That was the most balanced midfield in my opinion. But letting go someone like a Herrera, for example, who in a way he had similar qualities to like a Carrick, but then at the same time he got stuck in like an Englishman, if that's what made sense, man. Like he got stuck in into tackles, but he was a maestro in terms of his technical ability as well. So he brought something different to the midfield. Now, us letting him go and not replacing him with a player who could do the same things that he does, we made a mistake there massively.
Did, man, but he wanted 300 bags a week, so you've got to look at it from perspective, right? Like it's all right us sitting here saying we should have never let him go, but then you throw in the whole wage structure out again, and then all of a sudden you've got Rashford knocking on the door, you've got Luke Shaw knocking on the door, you've got Maguire knocking on the door, you've got everyone knocking on the door saying we want 300 bags a week if you're letting your number 8 earn £300,000 a week. So I understand why they let him go. I agree that midfield three of Pogba, Herrera and Matic was our best midfield three that we've probably seen post Ferguson. I have no issues with that. The problem is we are run as a business, and at the end of the day, I think Scott McTominay's wage for a while was about 30 grand a week. Herrera would have been 300 grand a week. McTominay isn't a tenth of the player that Herrera is, so you've got to look at it as a business sometimes. I don't necessarily think that we should have kept Herrera on that kind of money. It's the same problem that Arsenal had with Aaron Ramsey, and he went on a free, and Juventus ended up paying him 350 grand a week. And now Arsenal fans will probably have looked at their midfield for another couple of seasons and thought we could have used Aaron Ramsey in the 8 or the 10. But then do you want to pay him 350 grand? Because then what does Aubameyang want? What does Lacazette want? What does Ozil want? What does Odegaard want?
I mean,
so
you kind of throw.
You know what, James, you've made some great points, and sorry to even cut you off, lads, man. You've made some great points, but this is me personally. Like, if you look at someone like Herrera, for example, yes, in terms of what he was asking for, but you got to look at what he's put into the club. He's been at the club for 5 years, put in a shift. He's won the FA Cup with us. He's won the Europa League with us. Yes, it's not the level of, winning Premier Leagues and Champions League like what we used to, but still, it still warrants him to have a decent contract, man. So for me, someone like Herrera, he played for the badge. He played with passion. You can just tell that when he was on the pitch, he's ready for war. Like, there's one game specifically that I'll always remember Herrera for, is that game that he marked out Hazard. Hazard at the time was a tremendous player in the Premier League, and Herrera marked him out, and we won that game. So players like that, my point is, yes, money is an issue in terms of wages, but at the same time, money shouldn't be our main concern. We should be having players on the pitch who will play for the badge rather than players who are going to be playing for the money.
Yeah, listen,
and I
mate,
felt that Herrera deserved it.
If you watch anything that I do, I'm a big advocate of players playing for the badge, right? I'm literally like, that's what I care about more than a lot of other people, to be honest. I always speak about that. But if you've got a squad of 25 players and you're paying them all 300 bags a week, then that is $7.5 million wage bill per week that you just can't justify having, unfortunately. Yeah. So you can't literally just throw money like that at everyone. Like, otherwise, like, football doesn't work like that, right? It's a business, and you have to pay out what you bring in, and there's no way that you can justify giving a player that unfortunately isn't one of the main players in your team £300,000 a week. You especially when he was 28, 29, you just can't do that, unfortunately. Like, it makes no business sense. And if I was the person signing off the check on that, like, you'd have to check me into a psychiatrist if I signed off on that, because it's like way off the mark.
I just want to bring in as well, let's not forget, as much as we love Sancho, and Sancho's doing, bits for us at the moment, he's doing okay, and he has a very bright future. Sancho is on 300 odd a week.
It's crazy.
And
I was actually going to talk about it. So I just Googled. Ander Herrera is actually on 140k per week at PSG. It's not that much in terms of
140k.
That's where I'm going. That's where I was going. No, that's where I was going. I've Googled the article out. If you want, I can send you a link. He didn't ask for that much. He was asking for something around 180, 190k.
Yeah, 200k, I believe.
Yeah, that's a reasonable amount. It was more like I don't want to pay to Ander Herrera because he's not commercially marketable. I would rather pay to Rashford or Shaw. So bro, the thing I want, I didn't get to come to the starting 11, but I believe there is like Ander Herrera thing exposed a bigger thing at United. There is a British versus non-British thing in the dressing room. That's definitely there because the British players are being highly overpaid. Even if you look at the current United team, Bruno Fernandez is probably after Ronaldo our best player. If you remove Ronaldo from the squad, he is undoubtedly our best player. But he is even after the new contract extension, he's being I think he's being paid less than Sancho and Rashford.
Correct.
Scholesy fan.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture between that and marketability because you got Pogba as well. And do you know what I mean? That would have been on crazy wages. I think it's a blend between the two. I think you're right.
Yeah. So, but there is a British versus non-British thing in the dressing room. That's for sure. That is there. Even
You have
as
to
much
see
as
it
we don't
now.
like to accept it, but there is.
There is, but there's British people that are overpaid, like Dean Henderson and Maguire, and there's British people that are underpaid, like Scott McTominay, right? So there's both. That, like, if you look at the amount, we might not all like him, but if you look at the amount that McTominay plays and the role that he plays in the team and how much the manager rates him, he's drastically underpaid compared to some of the other people in the team.
Yeah,
And Bruno Fernandes was
especially for the
underpaid
work ethic.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandez was underpaid for his role, right? I wasn't a fan of his new contract. I'm not Bruno's biggest fan by a long way. But at 120 grand a week, that was frankly a joke for someone that contributed 29 goals in his first season. So he was massively underpaid.
But 250 is also a joke, right?
No, I wouldn't have given him a new contract. Not 240 grand. Not when we didn't.
I don't like the timing of the new contract either.
No,
I don't like the timing. I don't like the timing of it.
And also with Sancho, the money that he's on, and I made this point, like United for the last few years, we haven't been able to go and sell a project to a player. You know, we haven't been able to go tell players like, hey, you know what, come to this club and you can win a league or you can win trophies because we haven't been able to. And the only ways to get these players to come is by giving them massive wages. So in that respect, you cannot complain about play. Look, if we didn't offer Sancho that wages, he had no business coming to that club. He just have no business because there were other clubs out there that he can go there and win trophies with.
But here's the thing, bro. I don't think anyone would have paid 75 million for him.
Going forward, it will be different because you have a manager that play attractive football, which we were not even doing that. So a young player cannot say, oh, you know what, I'm going to come because they play good football. They can't do that. Now, young players will probably say, look, I want to come because this manager, I've seen how he developed kind of like young players too, so I can come there and everything like that. So going forward, we might not be able to have to offer them the big age wages to kind of like come because we got a manager that can actually sell his project kind of like to them. But in the past, it has always been the case. It was the same with Pogba. It was the same with Sancho. Even Rafael Varane too. He got more money. That's why he chose us to come. His agent actually poached us, and we offered him a lot of money, and that's why our club was not in for him.
I
really don't think.
I differ on the Varane case though. I think it was more like Madrid pushed him out because I think he's done with his injury records right now. I think he's done. He wouldn't have been a regular player in Madrid also.
Let's bring in.
But I think there's a reason they let him go.
Yeah,
let's bring in United Tunnel. Let's bring in United Tunnel. You were saying, bro. You were saying.
I think we're allergic to selling players. Ultimately, we let their contracts run down completely, and then it comes to a situation where someone like Herrera can demand, "Hey, I want 300K a week." Why? I'm not getting 300K a week at PSG, but PSG might give me a $10 million signing bonus. Right? Whereas United are not going to be able to. So Pogba, that's why he's going to be leaving. He's going to get a nice little signing bonus. I mean, you're going to get a bunch of money up front, plus a nice little wage. And I think the club need to understand, right? There's no linkage between the business side of the house and the footballing side. If our business side of the house understood the importance like a Herrera to our footballing side, they would have been a lot more proactive. They would have said, hey, you know what? His contract is running down. I'm going to re-sign him to a new contract before he even gets into a situation where he asks for 300 bags a week. Or I'm going to sell him right now. So we gotta be really diligent in selling our players and selling them very efficiently. Otherwise, we hoard players into a dressing room, players who are unhappy because they're not getting playing time.
Can I just say, since 2013, so since Ed Woodward was CEO, do you know how many players Manchester United have sold for £10 million or more since 2013 Anyone know?
How many? How many?
Two?
How many?
Two.
No, it's probably like it's more than that. But like, think about the ones that we've sold. for more than
Only
10 million.
Daniel
4 to
James.
5.
Dan James only, I believe.
Dan James is the highest one. It's in the
Dan
history
James
of
was
United is the
Dan
highest.
And
James.
player.
Lukaku too got so for
Yeah,
Lukaku, Di
Lukaku.
Maria, Dan
Di
James.
Maria. Yeah,
Yeah,
Over.
and
Okay.
keep going.
That's
I
it.
can't remember anymore.
There's 7, right? But to say that we've spent
Depay?
in that time £1.2 billion and we've only sold 7 players for £10 million or more is a disgrace. Like, I looked at it
Absolute
last year,
disgrace.
and when the news came out around like obviously when Pogba was going to leave, and then we were talking about Lingard leaving, and the club put something daft out like, oh, we value him at £50 million or whatever. It's like, right, if this is true and you do value Jesse Lingard at £50 million, then that means you value Paul Pogba at £90 million. You value Jesse Lingard at £50 million. That's £140 million worth of players that you're letting walk out the door for free. If I ran a business and I just let £140 million worth of assets, if I just wrote them off at the end of the year, I'd like people would be like, what the hell are you doing? You can't write off £140 million worth of assets as just like, oh yeah, forget about it.
It's like we've been sanctioned. It's like we've been sanctioned, James.
Yeah. Honestly, it's crazy, mate. Like, I just don't understand how this football club is ran, considering we had an accountant as a CEO and we've now got another accountant as a CEO. Like, the business side and the monetary side of it just makes zero sense. I'm just going to say fast, like, I'm going to have to get off because I'm in work early tomorrow. But pleasure, mate. Pleasure, guys.
Big up, James, man. I'm gonna give you a follow, mate, man.
Thank you so much.
Feel free, guys. I'll follow back, anything like that. Big up, Faz. I'll speak to you soon. Yeah.
Big up. See you on the Chelsea game as well. Yeah. Big up, and big up to everyone who's still tuned in, who's still staying. I want to push the conversation onto this recent thing about McTominay. McTominay and his comments after the Arsenal defeat. Firstly, big up to everyone who's staying in. Thank you so much. We're one and a half hour in, and time flies, right? When you're talking Man United, time just flies. Me and NK, United Tunnel, even Trey, even Firma, we sometimes in spaces, and these spaces can go on 45 hours. These spaces go on for hours. But McTominay's recent comments. So he says there's a whole lot of problems in terms of players, staff, everything higher up. There are a lot of things going on at the minute. You can't go back to your house and be satisfied with conceding 3 goals at Arsenal when we deserve to win the game. The last 4 games are about pride for us, going out on the pitch and showing a bit of balls with your performances. When the new coach comes in, we need to be ready for everything. We need to be so dialed in and concentrated on our jobs that we impress him. What are your thoughts on those comments about McTominay making, after the game? He also goes on to say something about, you can't feel satisfied when you go into your mansion or when you go into your house and stuff. But he definitely says that there's problems with players, staff, higher up, and everything. He's not a senior player. I wouldn't say he's a senior player at the club, but as somewhat a junior / mid kind of player, in the first team, him making these comments. What are your thoughts? I'll start off with you, Firma, and then we'll move on to Trey. And also big up Trey for joining. I didn't even say thank you for joining. But yeah, Firma, go on, bro.
No worries, brother.
Look, those comments there is why he's phase 2 of the rebuild. So he can get parked to the side because at least his heart's in it. He can get parked to the side while we deal and get rid of the deadwood that don't want to be here. Because Scott McTominay, the reason why I say he's phase 2, because he's got the passion. You can see he's got the passion. He wants to play for the shirt, which is the baseline of what we need. But then you've got to start looking at the quality. Like, are you Man United standard? Are you Man United quality? Can you bring us to the level that we're trying to be? And that's why I'm saying, you know what, phase 2. But he's speaking out. At least he's not coming on the talking like how Maguire is. Do you understand? That whole he's not taking accountability. He's sort of saying the cliche words, and it kind of angers me. I'd rather you not give an interview than stand there and say the cliche words. So I think like Ralph Ragnick and stuff like that has been impressionable. Like he's making his impression on certain players, like Scott McTominay, because he's now, and David De Gea. David De Gea has been outspoken for a while now. I feel like they're now sitting down and realizing that, damn, this is rotten. And it's not just with the players, it's throughout the club, and they can see it themselves. So the minute that they can start seeing stuff change from the hierarchy up, like from top to bottom, then hopefully that will start adjusting their mindsets. Because imagine this, right? Imagine you being in the office at work. You're trying to get stuff done, but your bosses, right, are just blockers. You ain't going to be the most motivated chap because you know that whatever you do, it's not going to amount to anything. And really and truly, these guys, like, they're employees by Manchester United, and they need to see change up there so it can start motivating them, changing their mindset and everything like that. So for me, yeah, I'm all for that speaking, but at the same time, we want to see action on the pitch, man. We really do want to see action on the pitch. So it's now or never, baby.
I would just like to add one thing to it. Like, I was watching Sky Sports, I think, yesterday, and Scholesy said he had a conversation with Lingard, and he said Lingard won't mind saying it in the air that there is a huge problem in the dressing room. So also that adds up to McTominay's comment, and this is the first time in years I am seeing David De Gea after every match posting something on Facebook or social media. Like, he wasn't so vocal before. So there is something really going on. And if you see the likes of Rashford and others on the pitch, they are not giving their 100%. Definitely. I can name one player, at least, in Rashford. He is definitely not giving his 100%. His mind is not there. And he wants Ragning to fail, I believe. Because this is the first time his coach has come to United and has dared to drop Rashford. Because Rashford was a poster child for the Glazers. He's the Mr. Charity guy. He's everything. His football was never questioned. He was out of form, but Ole used to keep picking him. But this is the first time someone dared to drop him, and I think it has got to him. He couldn't take it. It has hurt his ego or something, probably.
But
Trey,
I would
go
like
on.
to add,
No.
sorry, one thing I would like to add. So can I add?
Yeah, go on. Sure.
Yeah, so since Scholesy fan brought up that Lingard issue as well, but this should have never happened at first stage. Lingard is a Manchester United player. He is always in the dressing room. Why is he leaking the stuff? Okay, it's a disaster, but why he has to tell the Scholes? This is not good. This is not Manchester United dressing room. Everyone, leaking the stuff. That's why sometimes managers also upset. Like, why on earth? And even Paul Scholes, I am surprised. He should have never tell this on a Sky Sports. Like, it's out there. Why?
Scholes is like my favorite player, bro, but he's the worst pundit out there, I can say.
Yeah, absolutely.
He
And
is the
Gary
worst
Neville.
pundit.
Yeah, you
And
know what,
Gary Neville.
Scorsy fan, man.
You should
You
never
know.
leak the conversation what is happening inside the dressing room. Even if it's a disaster, everyone knows. Let it be a disaster, right? This is unacceptable and this is unbelievable. And one of the reason why he's doing, because he is checked out. He knows I'm living on a free. I don't care. Same as Pogba and same as maybe other players as well. He should have never done that. He lost all my respect doing that.
So is he the
Everything.
leak? Is he the leak then? Would you think? Because there
I
was that
I
think
story on
believe
it.
I
there are
believe Shaw
reports.
is also another leak.
I think there are reports about leaks.
I think all the British players, some of them, most of them have
Yeah,
some kind
Dean
of
Henderson is obviously a leak. I have heard from many sources and I have read from many sources on channels as well. Manchester United, his name is always there, Dean Henderson. I don't know why in terms of leak. Lingard, obviously, I don't trust him as well. So there are a couple of other players, but this thing should have never happened and we let it happen since ages. That's why we are in a position where we are. Even if it's a disaster, even if it's a war going on, no, there is not business you leak out the stuff outside. That's out of my mind. This is really unacceptable and I don't think so Eric Ten Hag will will take it lightly. He will just pick the player apart whosoever done that, to be honest. So I'm very disappointed with that.
Trey, go on. Give me your thoughts on McTominay and the comments that he made.
You know what, Faz, man, once again, obviously big up the panel that we have today. We've got a Champions League panel right now, man. Obviously, United Tunnel finally revealed. Love that. Big up everyone anyway, man. But yeah, you know what, McTominay, I agree with Firma. He's perfect. Phase 2, he obviously plays for the badge. And I really like McTominay. For me, he's a great squad player to have. He's similar to like a Park Ji-sung, back in the days. He wasn't a starter, but he did a shift and did his part. And I think McTominay is that sort of player in terms of his import. So what he's saying, I completely agree with him. And I like the fact that everything is getting unraveled now. I love it, yeah. Yes, it's bad for, PR, is great for the views, it's great for clicks, etc., for like the PR outlets out there. But for us as fans, we need to see what's going on behind closed doors, because we're seeing players like a Rashford. We're seeing players that, they're going out in the field and they're not giving it their all. Like with Rashford, for example, the reason why, like, I'm so frustrated and disappointed with him, because you remember how he broke through into the scene. He was hungry. He was fearless. Like, he was taking on guys. Like, he was on it. And since he sort of became NBA, started doing the work with, for what he's done for the country and, getting these bigger contracts, it just seems like he's just lost his way, like, a lot. And that hunger's gone. And the dressing room's toxic. And I think, what's also a major factor in the dressing room being toxic? And I think Ollie, for me, I love Ollie. Like, obviously, I love what he's sort of done, that in terms of bringing the feel-good factor back to the club. But one of the mistakes that he made for the dressing room was making Maguire the captain. Now, that completely rattled the dressing room, because you got someone like De Gea who, he's been at the club for 10 years. Like, you've got a player there that's been at the club for 10 years, and then you have a player like Maguire who we bought for 80 million, and then he comes into the club and you make him captain straight away. Like, one, it's not good for his pressure, Maguire himself, and two, like, how does De Gea feel? Like, De Gea is probably looking at Oli at the time thinking, like, mate, like, I've been here 10 years, like, I've put in the shift, I've won titles, like, I could go on, I could get my medal that I won with Ferguson and come in here and give you guys a motivational speech. I could actually do that, like, with some of the players, and see if I could inspire them. What can Maguire do for the dressing room? So I'm not surprised that the dressing room right now is disjointed, because we have a captain who come on, we all know what our captain's doing right now. It's just like, he's obviously not going to get sold, but come on, like, right now he's causing a ruckus in the dressing room. So for me, McTominay is 100% right. That's why I'm excited about Ten Hag coming in, and that's why, like, this is going to sound very crazy, but I think it's a blessing in disguise that Ralph has been managing our team, because he's seen for himself what's going on in that dressing room. So when he does go upstairs and, he corresponds with Ten Hag in terms of which players are coming in and which players are going out, he knows firsthand from a footballing perspective what's going on at the club. So it's not Ed Woodward and a Matt Judge, for example, just making decisions just based on commercial value. It's the decisions that we're going to make from now on, moving forward, is purely going to be based on football. And we've lacked that since Ferguson left the club. That's why I keep telling fans, like, I'm going to tell you fans as well, top four, just get out of your minds. What we should be thinking about is Manchester United have not won the Premier League in 10 years. Now, I'm happy for a man to come in, implement his philosophy, build, and just, rip this club in terms of getting rid of certain players that don't need to be here, bring in some hungry players that will play for the badge, and that we can actually move forward and start building a team that can compete for league titles again. Like, top four, let's not even worry about that right now. We need to start building a team that can win Premier League titles again. And the only way that can happen is through building a mentality. And I think by Ten Hag coming in, I agree with Patel, I think it's going to be a great start for us, man.
Let's sum this up now. So, look, thank you everybody for joining. It's been a fantastic conversation today. We could probably bring in so many more of the topics, and we will. I'm going to try and do a live stream every Sunday to bring everyone together, unless we have a game. But yeah, we're going to do a live stream every Sunday, break things up on the week. I'm funny enough, I'm not even sore from yesterday's defeat. It's weird that I'm used to it now. It's weird. Sorry, NK, you're on mute if you're saying something, bro. Were you saying something then? Yeah, you're still on mute, bro. 1 second, let me. You don't have a mic connected.
Yeah,
It says,
now.
can I hear? Yes, say something now.
Hello? Oh,
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you
Oh,
were saying
sorry.
something.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Did he ask me a question? Because
No,
No,
I was just
we
summing
thought you
it
was
up.
talking.
oh,
I was
sorry,
just
my
summing it
wife,
up.
my wife called the phone. That's why. Sorry.
You
Love
have to
it.
answer those. You have
You
to
have to
answer those.
answer them calls.
Yeah, you have to take it, bro.
You don't want to be homeless.
I know that.
That's the boss calling, right, MK? That's the boss right there.
But
Trust me.
yeah, to sum it up, look, I'm not even sore from yesterday's defeat. This has become normality for me. I'm going to the Chelsea game. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm going to the Chelsea game. I'm gonna be doing obviously a match preview for the Chelsea game, and I think NK's wife is saying, "Get off the phone. Who you on the phone to?" At this time, who you on the phone to? No, it's fine.
NK's joining Pogba, mate.
Yeah.
Straight out.
Yeah, I don't
Straight
know
out
why
the
I'm
club.
going. I actually, part of me debated, shall I go to the rest of the games? Do I really? I was even thinking, shall I drive to Brighton? It's like a 4-hour drive from my house. Shall I drive to Brighton and watch the Brighton game? Shall I go to the Chelsea game? Shall I be like some of these other fans and sell my ticket for double the price? Why not? If the Glazers are making money out of this thing, why can't I? But I'm not like that. I'm glad this season, apart from all the negatives, I've actually managed to fulfill quite a few individuals' dreams. It's just a positive touch. I've got people in the area who've come from abroad, from poor backgrounds, who've never been to a Manchester United game, let alone even be in the UK. So they're now in the UK, and I took some of the people into the games. I have a few seats in the stadium, so I take at least 1 or 2 people with me every game, and it was crazy to see, people, no matter what the score, no matter what the position in the league, they just glad to even see Bruno Fernandez, even see a Ronaldo.
Top man,
Yeah.
Faz, man, top man.
Yeah, I do try. But look, there'll be a match preview for Chelsea. We'll do it the day before the Chelsea game, which is, I think, on the 28th. So we'll do it on the 27th. I want to thank each and one of you for joining in and supporting my movement, giving all your insights and all your thoughts. But yeah, listen, I've been Faz. Please, I'll go around the panel and put your social media if you want to. I'll start with NK. NK, drop your social media for everyone.
It's NK Deco TV. I think that's my username on Twitter, NK Deco TV. I'll be there talking smack all the time.
I don't think you talk smack unless we start talking about David De Gea. Other than that,
yeah, it's football. We all have our opinions. I think as long as we are respectful with our opinions, every opinion is always welcome.
Yeah, except for David De Gea and Harry Kane, I'm open to any other opinions. But other than them two, don't talk to me about Harry Kane.
David De Gea is an issue, but he is not the most important issue.
I'm gonna mute you. He's not an issue. He is not an issue.
The only issue I'll say, probably he's not a sweeper keeper, but he is not our biggest concern right now.
He's not our issue. He's not. I'm telling you. Maybe even Ronaldo's not our issue. Ten Hag comes, he changes up the whole set. He's played with Haller, and people say, well, if Ten Hag can play with Haller, Ten Hag can play with Ronaldo. Well, Haller is 27, Ronaldo is 37. Big difference. But Ronaldo can still put numbers on the board, which is very, very important, very, very crucial. I'll go around with the social media as well. United Tunnel, your social media is already there at United Tunnel. So make sure anybody listening, anybody watching the show today, make sure you go and follow United Tunnel all the way from Canada. What time is it in Canada now?
It is 6:20 p.m. Where I am in Toronto. We got like 5 different time zones, by the way, in Canada.
Yeah.
It's huge.
What part are you from, Toronto? What part?
I'm actually from the East End, Pickering, Ajax area of the city.
I live in North York.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big up to you, Akshay.
Cool.
And big up to you, Faz, and big up to the panel. This is an all-star panel that you got going. You can catch me at United Tunnel. I've done a face reveal. I'm gonna update my picture on my socials to reflect that.
Love that. Love that.
So
Love that.
I love it. Big up yours
Yeah.
truly, Akshay and Kay, firmer Skolzy fast.
Big up, big up, big up, big up.
Thank
Big
you.
up, big up always, brother, man.
I'm gonna obviously tag all of your social media in the description, anyways. Firma, my favorite barman for United. Go on, drop your socials.
Bro, Instagram at OT99_bantering. TikTok is just all one word, no underscore. And Twitter
Nice.
at 99banter, man.
Bless. Trey, drop your socials.
Yeah, it's just an easy one. It's yours truly, Trey. Nice and easy. No spaces, no gaps, no nothing. It's yours truly, Trey. Nice and easy, man. So you can find me on Insta, on also TikTok as well, and on Twitter, man. So lads, once again, man, it's been a tremendous show. And I'm gonna say this one more time. I think I've said this previously on the show.
I think I know what's coming.
You know what's coming. Faz knows exactly what's coming. Ten Hag 316 changes now. Like that's the movement right now. Stone cold mindset. He's gonna come through with that energy. Love that, man.
Okay, drop your socials, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward, but you can see my name. So it's patel.aksay.31149.
Cool. I'll add that in as well. And Skolzy fan, I know you're not really active on socials, are you? You're just a low key, off the radar kind of guy.
I'd rather like to speak face to face.
Exclusively.
Yeah, I like it. Old school. But listen,
Love
big up
that.
to everyone. Thank you all. Make sure whoever's watching, like, comment, subscribe, all of that malarkey. If you want to go and make sure you check out these people, follow them on Twitter. We'll join in on the Twitter Spaces. But yeah, thank you all for joining and have a good evening. See you sometime in the middle of the week for the match preview. Bless.
All right.
Bless everyone.